What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the GGBL. We've got the full offseason video here in this episode. We got a lot to talk about here, namely the wheel spins for yes, no, free agency. I'll give you an update on that. But if you haven't seen these two videos, we got a little KJ Ricky Holberman drama.
You see, Ken, that's exactly what pros do. We're out here working versus giving these little silly interviews to a B-rate reporter.
If you haven't seen those, check those out inside the playlist of this GGBL series. But long story short, KJ kind of frustrated with how things have been going in Richmond, losing 2 straight Gold Series, feeling like Ricky Holberman's a big part of the reason why that they haven't gotten it done. So he threw him under the bus, threw some other teammates under the bus as well. And Richmond has been kind of upset with KJ's mentality, his attitude inside the clubhouse, talking to the media even throughout the season. Even his introductory press conference was a little over the top, making it all about me. So if you haven't checked those out, please do so. But inside the Discord, we got the whole entire story, the whole entire thread of what went down here, including some quotes there from the Richmond general manager. But James Monroe, also a big part of this trade to go to the San Antonio Bandits. Of course, Richmond having traded 2 superstars of the league, they got to get something back, right? Well, the problem is for Richmond, they have to acquire Humberto Feliz in this trade, a 34-year-old pitcher who's making about $40 million towards the back end of his contract. So that hurts. This is not an ideal trade for Richmond. They don't want to get rid of James Monroe, but taking on a personality like KJ, San Antonio's got a good culture there. They got a good clubhouse. Taking on that money. Now they want James Monroe in that deal, right? So now they're trying to match money at this point, right? Feliz making the big bucks, taking on Monroe's contract, taking on KJ's contract. Got to match money somehow. Richmond getting some nice little chip-in pieces there like Howard Amasa, Walker Kaufman, and Clete Braxton. But the big piece of this trade was Benny Blanco. Blanco has also been a little upset with San Antonio with his usage. He's not getting as many games as he would like to have played in a season. Plus, being one of the better players in the GGBL, one of the better young guys, he's kind of letting his frustrations be known. So he's also the big piece of the trade coming back to the Good Boys. However, the Good Boys are not done quite yet. So having moved on from their big superstars here, KJ and James Monroe, they feel like they gotta get younger. They got to start moving forward here, trying to reopen that window, that championship window down the line. So they're looking at Hector Varnado, starting pitcher for the Boston Revolution. He's one of the top 50 prospects. Bobby Smith's just kind of a chip-in, little speedy outfielder. He's got some decent defensive numbers, some decent vision, more of like a 5th outfielder type guy, a 26th man on that roster. Plus, they weren't really impressed with Cesar Silva, starting pitcher for them. He's 28 years old now. He's only been in the league for 3 seasons, at least 3 years of service time. He does have a little bit of some quirks there that Boston might like, but really kind of the bigger piece for Boston here is the outfield depth. They feel like they need to get better in the outfield side of things, and Brady Dunn is the piece that they want to acquire. So Brady Dunn, Cesar Silva being traded to the Boston Revolution for the likes of Parker Kelly, Bobby Smith, and Hector Varnado. So Richmond gets a little bit younger. That's exactly what they want to do. And every time, by the way, when you're doing player movement trades, you have to match player for player. So that's kind of why for the 3-for-2 guys, I moved Varnado over for a deep potential 30-year-old reliever. So it just works out. Now, as you guys know, exclusive free agents, they get to decide yes or no if they want to go to free agency or if they don't. So I'll let you know how all that went, how that all broke down for CPU players. But for the custom players, they decided, I reached out to them, they decided if they wanted to test free agency or not, if they wanted to come back. And if they did, who are your top 5 teams? So up on the wheel spin, you can see just exactly where these guys are going. Orlando gets Mikey Porter. They get Martin Tate, another good starting pitcher. Mario Mazza, huge name. He just won an AL MVP a couple seasons ago. He's going to play with his brother, Luigi Mazza. So now we have a 1-2 punch there right up the middle, shortstop, second baseman. We got the Mazza brothers. That's how that all broke out. So, guys, by the way, so this is how it all has broken out now. So all these CPU guys, Boyd Franks, Damian Wright here, Richard Cortez, Johnny Hammer, Jimmy Roberson, I did wheel spins for these guys. I'm not going to show them to you here. It just kind of didn't really make a lot of sense. All these guys that are in the free agents, they said yes, they did want to test free agency. So that is your updated list. Now, here's just an example of how this is going to run. So we saw the list of available free agents, the guys that said yes, that they wanted to test free agency. I have all 30 GGBL teams up here on the wheel spin. We're going to start from the very top and go all the way down to about 80 overall. So depending on how that all shakes out, we're going to get every team a free agent. That's how that's going to work. So we're going to work from Kevin Dixon all the way down, Maxwell, Gallo, so on and so forth, right? And, you know, there might be a situation here. So this is going to take about maybe another 11 minutes to get through this. So hang in there with me, guys. Skip to the end if you feel it. But if you want to see how everything plays out, hang in there. So the Colorado Coyotes, interesting spot for Kevin Dixon, right? So they get a big free agent. He was the best overall player for them. But they don't really have a shortstop in that mix. They do have Neptune St. Clair at third. They do have Emile Dufour-Laponte at second base. So shortstop, kind of iffy for them. It's a good fit for them, right? Minnesota Jacks get Mason Maxwell back. That's hilarious to me. I don't know if you guys sharing that. Just the chances, the odds of that happening. He didn't want to re-sign with Minnesota. You could make the argument that as the longer the free agent period has gone on, maybe some interested parties didn't offer him enough money. Minnesota reaches back out to him and he wants to come back. Same thing here for Shea Gallo, the closer. Philadelphia flight should be the Orlando Sun Sox, right? Since they are the relocation team, right? But it's hilarious that Gallo, the closer, in the discussions didn't want to go back to Orlando. He wanted to test the market, and the market wasn't fair to him. Again, you could make that storyline. He goes back to Orlando. Now, again, a kind of a funny situation here. Stephen Goldie, he kind of wore out his welcome there with the San Francisco Grizzlies, and now he goes over to an NL West division rival in the Vancouver Mighty Beavers. Now, one of the hottest pitching names in the free agent list this season is Henry Fukumori. He pitched really well for Houston in his time there, and what do you know, as luck would have it, the Richmond Good Boys, they nab him. So it's great. So now our pitching for Richmond is looking pretty good. It's looking a lot better now. We've got some young mix in there. We've got some youth coming up there. You get rid of James Monroe, you get some good prospects back, and then you go out and you sign yourself one of the better pitchers in the GGBL with Henry Fukumori, one of the most sought-after pitchers in the game. Now, Houston was just one pick away by the looks of it there. So they do solve their first base problem. They do have a first base issue. It's kind of funny that they got Chad Presley. So it's all working out for every team here. I love the fact that the wheel spin has been working kind of like a Ouija board. Just a little bit here. Now, look at this, how tight that this one was. The Pittsburgh Hammers are going to get a nice player there in Casey Brown. They need to shore up some of their pitching staff. They do have some youngsters there with Liam Snow and Hal Richards III. Now they get a left-hander there with Casey Brown. That's a good spot for Casey Brown. He can go to a team that, instead of Wisconsin, he can go to a team at Pittsburgh who might be able to actually build something to be a competitive clubhouse. So now Walker Lettieri, he's my guy. You could say Lettier, I guess, not Lettieri or whatever I said. But he's my dude. And I don't really have a top five. I just kind of want to feel this out and see where he lands. And if I like it, then I'll take it. But if not, I'm just going to say, no, I'm not going there. So I'm not going to go to Boston. I'm not going to go to LA. So we'll spin it again here for my dude, Walker Lettier. And we'll see where it lands here at this point. So Seattle. You know, I thought long and hard about this one. You can see me kind of thinking about it. Do I want to remove? Yeah, I'm going to remove him. So Seattle does get Walker Lettier. I like chaos. I kind of want to see someone else in the NL rather than Richmond, to be honest with you. Richmond's my team. But we've been there 5 straight times and we haven't gotten it done. So maybe Seattle, maybe my guy Walker can come in there and give Richmond a little bit of a punch in the mouth, right? Maybe we can have a little something different here. The Nashville Heat will sign Damian Wright, so that also doesn't look good for my boy, Carson Vine, a second baseman, little contact guy. So his job may be in jeopardy. But again, kind of a funny situation there. Just like with Houston, they missed out on getting Fukumori back. Nashville just missed out on getting Walker Latier back, as they were the next wheel spin, right? Boyd Franks goes to the OKC Cyclones. He just seems like that's a perfect fit. I mean, think about it. Think about their roster. Think about the names on that roster. Boyd Franks steps up at the plate with the Oklahoma City Cyclones. It's hilarious to me. San Francisco Grizzlies will get a nice player here as well. And we will go ahead and spin. They get RJ Dixon. That's good for their pitching rotation. Richard Cortez, a left fielder. Where's he going? Where's he headed? He will head to the Washington Swamp Monsters. So yet again, the wheel is just one player off from getting the player that they had previously. So RJ Dixon misses going to the Swamp Monsters. Swamp Monsters get Richard Cortez. Now Johnny Hammer, we kind of, if you're familiar, if you remember this guy, what his ordeal was, he's got an issue with the ERA, right? The ERA has not been very good. It's very, very high, the ERA. I feel like I'm like Seth Green and Freddie got whatever, the movie, right? The stocks are very high, the stocks. And when they're low, you guys don't even know what I'm talking about here. The Miami Moonshots up on the board. Michigan, we got to remove them. Accidentally did not remove them here. Miami, got to get them off the board as well. So we're just kind of running through the list now. Running through pretty quickly here. We got Roberson off the board. We got Hammer off the board. Guys are flying off the board now, guys. Cardinals, they're going to get a nice player there. So we'll go ahead and remove that. We'll start that wheel spin yet again. The Cardinals get Wallace Hayes. This is now for Dustin McClendon. So they lost Lou Jernigan a couple seasons ago. The Cardinals did. Now they get another one there, Wallace Hayes. Good player back to the Atlanta Sting. That's Dustin McClendon. He's going to add to the pitching staff, so a little veteran presence there. Adam Bird could go back to the Pizzazz, but he'll go to the Phoenix Firebirds instead. I don't really know where he's going to play, though. They do have kind of a first base jam there with Kevin Stoitz. Maybe he'd be more of a designated hitter. Now, Freddie Foley, yeah, he was real close to going back to the Pizzazz, but he's going to go to the Chicago Breeze. So, again, just kind of funny how all this is working here. The Breeze, they lost Trey Mashburn a season ago. He's now with the San Francisco Grizzlies. So now Freddie Foley is filling that void with Chicago. So now we're going to do something a little bit different here. We're now towards these kind of role player type guys like Patrick Willie. We've got Darren Avalos, Dusty Griffith, Willie Talbot, Jack Mitchell, Scotty Finnegan. Some names that we've kind of been familiar with in the last couple seasons. But I'm just going to go ahead and just wheel spin right now. And we're just going to kind of note in the back of our minds who is up right now. So Patrick Willie's going to go to the New Orleans Swing. Next up, you've got Darren Avalos. He was formerly with the Phoenix Firebirds. He's a GGBL champion. He's going to take his talents out there to the Iowa Reapers because they definitely need it. He's going to be looking to get paid, and I think that they would graciously accept that. The Carolina Blue Sox will get Dusty Griffith back. So again, another situation where the team allows the player to test free agency, and he's coming right back home. The prodigal son, if you will. Next guy up here is Willie Talbot, a first baseman. He's going to go to the Boston Revolution. It's a good pickup for them because Mike Price, by the way, and Sheldon Minoso. Sheldon Minoso is kind of the young guy, right? Mike Price more has served as a designated hitter at this point. He's getting a little up there with his age and his service time, so he's starting to hit that regression just a little bit. So that's kind of an update on where we're at with Boston's first base situation. So good pickup there to get Willie Talbot. Next up, we got Jack Mitchell, Scotty Finnegan, Dominic Coe, a right fielder. So some solid players here. Jack Mitchell's going to go to the St. Louis Maroons. Scotty Finnegan's up next up. He's been kind of bouncing around as Finnegan. He used to be playing for the Coyotes. Now then he was traded, I think in season 1, maybe season 2, over there to the Wisconsin Maples, and he's been there ever since. So now he's going to go to L.A., where they might think that he's ready for the prime time, right? He's had some good seasons there with Colorado. He had some better years with Wisconsin, and now they might think that he's ready to go. So the Maples, they could have gotten Scotty Finnegan back. They were just one wheel spin short. But they'll go ahead and they'll get Dominic Coe. He had a really good GGC back in Season 3. The Pizzazz, we'll get a pitcher here, Garth Villa. We got 4 teams left on the board here to go grab. Corey Davis, Lou Jernigan, Orlando Glass, and Kent Flaherty. Which basically this means that Andino, Madrano, Pedroza, Ortiz, all these guys left underneath Andino are not going to find a home through this wheel spin. So how I'm going to work that is I'm actually going to turn everyone onto auto for free agency purposes and then kind of let the chips fall where they may. I'm not going to get into the business there of like, well, the Bandits need a catcher or the Bandits need another pitcher. Like, I'm not going to try to stock these teams full, right? It's just not in the business of doing that. So we'll turn it on to auto and see what happens with those guys. But getting back to business here, Corey Davis, the first baseman, is going to go to San Antonio. Kind of a logjam there now with Grayson Fields. We've got Holyfield is there too, another first baseman, and then KJ, of course, right? We got Jernigan signs, Gauchos sign Orlando Glass, a third baseman, and Kent Flaherty is going to go to the Kansas City Monarchs as they're the last team up on the wheel spin. So they got the lowest rated player. That's how you could look at that, actually. It's kind of like a draft. Except the worst teams didn't get to pick first. But there's still some pretty decent players here. Maybe these guys will find a home once turned on to auto. I'll keep you guys updated here as we go into the Golden Globe Classic. So technically free agency is not done quite yet, but really the most interesting parts are that most of these guys left up on the board are just more so like role players. Maybe some of these guys might be able to start for their respective teams. Just depends on the depth, right? But yeah, for the most part, these guys will be like bench guys or role player guys. And I figured we might as well cover the big hitting names, right? Henry Fukumori, for example. Walker Lettier, for example, right? We needed to know where these guys are going. Guys like Andres Portillo and Lolo Wimpton, we don't care about those guys. We never see those guys in gameplay anyway, right? Anyway, yeah, kind of funny. But guys, little update with me. I'm actually leaving on the night of the 2nd to go down to Georgia, hurricane-riddled Georgia, yeah, for a out-of-state wedding. So I'm not going to be with you guys for GGBL content for the rest of this week. So I want to get back here on the 7th. That's kind of what we've got planned out. Get back here on the 7th, so next week. Then start working to get that GGC, the Golden Globe Classic, going. The international play, basically our World Baseball Classic. Try to get that set up and then go live with that on the 11th. So basically 2 weeks until the next GGBL upload. That's kind of what my idea is. No promises there for the 11th, but just if you're trying to schedule this thing out and what to expect, that's what I'm thinking. So, yep. So we'll get the GGC going there on the 11th, hopefully. And then whenever that's done, we'll move right into Season 6. So, and let me know if you guys even want to do a Golden Globe Classic. Like, I'm not totally sold on the idea. Again, maybe it's just too soon. We try to do it every 3 seasons. Maybe that's a little too much. Maybe we might do it every 5 seasons. I don't know. You guys tell me in the comment section if you'd like to see it. And if not, then we'll just skip it. That's fine. So guys, that's it. Leave a like if you like this thing. Let me know in the comment section what you thought the best free agent move was. Maybe your club made a really interesting move through the free agent wheel spin. Maybe got a little lucky. Maybe didn't expect to get a really good player. What are your thoughts there as your new players fit into your teams, into your clubs? And then again, just let me know unbiasedly what was the best move for any one of your teams across the GGBL. So I'll see you guys in the next one. As always, thank you so much for watching, and peace.